All right, we are also going live here on YouTube. If you guys have any trouble hearing or seeing me on TikTok, it has a mind of its own. Sometimes I can count on it, most times not. So feel free to switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy for this same identical mini class. You may also have better luck in the chat section. All right, looks like we have this running on YouTube as well. So welcome everybody on YouTube. If you can give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. That would be really helpful before we go ahead and get started. We're going to give this a second for a few people to tune in. While we wait, I do want to invite you guys to check out Intuitive Tarot class, training you in the traditional method of the Rider-Waite deck, as well as the intuitive method of learning, which means this won't limit you. So if you're the kind of person who says, you know, I feel like I have a lot of psychic, maybe even mediumistic abilities, but I don't want to get stuck using a tool like tarot. I don't want to get stuck using a pendulum or rods all the time. I want to be able to do it on my own, and I want to be able to connect directly to spirit, not some random tool. So this is going to be the class for you. This is going to, yes, train you in the tradition of the cards, but it's also going to open you up to your psychic and mediumistic abilities, allowing you to read with or without the deck and eventually move up that ladder into mediumship readings. Now, Intuitive Tarot starts on October 20th. So you can go ahead, ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com to register yourself now. We also have franchising opportunity. For those of you who have said in the past, I want to be part of the Ivy League. I want to own an Ivy League Psychic Academy. People have come to me over the years, whether they want to do it online or they want to do a brick and mortar. I figured out a way to do both. So if you want to own an academy, we're going to have the official franchising launch. Very exciting. We're going international. This is also going to be on October 20th. So you can have an online presence, or if you want to have an official school with a location, brick and mortar, you could do that as well. Now, there's a number here up in the description for tonight's class. You can text that number, 781-664-3585, to get in contact with Paul to get put on that waiting list to, be part of all of this information that's about to come out. Now, we also have behind the scenes Ask Ivy. So for those of you who tune in with me regularly, you know that I do, I think Wednesdays we're on right now. So I do an Ask Ivy show every week, one on TikTok, one on YouTube. And I take your personal questions. Well, if you become a member here on YouTube, you can hit that join button to find out more. At the supporter or member levels, I will be doing a private Ask Ivy show with you guys once a month. So you can check that out. I also want to invite you guys, if you are late registering, you're not too late. So for the Psychic Mediumship course that just started Monday, you could still get in on it. We have our winter session, however, about to run 11/1/21, November 1st of 2021. The next group will begin. So if you want to jump in with this current group, you could still do that. If you want to wait and register for winter, you can do that as well. Go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com. All right. So hope everyone is doing well. Looks like we have a few people tuned in, and I want to go ahead and get started. So let's see where we are. Welcome, Nicole, Chicken Mama, Bethany, YouTube, Andrea, Melanie. Thank you so much. All right. And for everybody on TikTok, again, if you're tuning in through TikTok, you start to have technological issues, get off, go over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. It'll be much better for you. All right, Paul, we good?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So welcome, everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak, and I own a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where I train people internationally, online, and everything, ranging from psychic mediumship development to numerology, tarot, astrology, meditation, Reiki, paranormal, empathic awareness, you name it, we do it. We train children as well as adults, so I hope to see you for classes. Now, you can go to the website up there in the bio for a full list, but this is one of the free mini classes I've been putting out since the pandemic hit, called the Quarantine Series. And if you want to see over, I think, 50, 60 classes at this point, the pandemic's been a while, right? You can go into the playlist on YouTube to check them all out. Today, we are talking about our life agenda versus the afterlife. And what do our ancestors actually have to say about this? Okay. So when we're talking about our life agenda, what I'm referring to here today are all of the things that we wholeheartedly believe are true. We believe our ancestors are backing and supporting and are full on in to that belief system, even from the other side. And we really want to rebel up against anything else, okay? Versus the afterlife. What actually happens when we pass on? Do these perspectives change? Do those belief systems crumble? You know, do we abandon that way of life? And often we do, and we just don't ever talk about this. So people just don't seem to be aware. And it does create a real discord in the relationship between you and your loved ones or your ancestors on the other side, because you really don't see eye to eye. And it can often feel like you've been abandoned by them, or like they don't care about some things that are going on in your life. So this could very well be why, okay? So the official write-up for this class was, many of our belief systems and desires do not transfer to the afterlife. Invoking our ancestors as supporting our false belief systems do not make them true. And that we need to, and we'll be focusing on this today, learn the most common misunderstandings between our life agenda and the afterlife. I think today I'm breaking down 5, okay? And I see these every day, whether it be with clients, with students, with myself, in society. This is really everywhere. So let's talk about this, okay? First of all, we want to really understand that whatever agreements your ancestors made, your loved ones made when they were here on Earth, that was part of a human experience at that particular time and in that construct of reality, or what they made up to be reality. It is rare to see that all of that transfers into the afterlife. Now, when they cross over, they become part of a new system. So if they're not earthbound, if they have crossed into the light, they believe in universal law. They believe in a whole and complete system of truth and wisdom and healing. And they abide by the laws of that light. And when they assist you or come to visit you, give you guidance, they're abiding by those laws, not whatever constructs they believed in when they were here on Earth necessarily, okay? Now, the thing is, the community that stays alive, that keeps going down through the generations, they may continue to believe those things, right? The culture, the family systems. So we're sitting here on Earth thinking that they still think this way, and they do not, all right? Now, let's talk about the 5 most common areas. Appropriation, misappropriation. I can't stand it. I am 100% in agreement with indigenous, tribal people, people of any culture, where they have a certain belief system and culture that they have been feeding, you know, for centuries even, and the colonizing, white, patriarchal, capitalistic, you know, murderers have come in and wiped it out. And now, because it's fashionable, these same ancestors, these colonizing descendants, let's say, want to take it on. They want to wear the clothes. They want to embrace that culture. They want to act as though it is their own. It's appropriation. They want to pretend that they're part of it. They want to get away with not really understanding what they're engaging in, but to look the part. And it's part of an ego. it's a way to feed and fill the fact that they don't have personalities of their own, that they don't have roots of their own, right? Ancestors that they're in touch with, spirituality that they're in touch with. So they're filling it by stealing from these other cultures. I 100% understand the system, and I do not agree with the system. However, one of the things I'm seeing more and more commonly is that the gatekeepers of these practices or these cultures, of these tribes, of these belief systems, they are saying, well, you can't be part of this. You shouldn't want to be part of this. You don't belong here, even when we should be more inviting. Okay, so when we see, for example, in the Native community that some people will try to gatekeep, and they'll say to other natives who are now just discovering their roots or who want to come back to their heritage and their culture, and they want to embrace it, and they want to embrace it for all the right reasons. We'll see people that say, well, you're not from the res, or they talk about blood quantum. You don't have enough of that blood in you. It's not as much as we have, so you can't come in here. Mind you, blood quantum is a government construct. That was something that the colonizers designed to keep natives down anyways, and organized. So they will, also say, well, you don't know the language, you're not part of this culture, so you can't come in. And I think we need to be really careful about that. So when we start to deliberately exclude people, we are going against universal law. When there are people that genuinely want to protect the earth and they want to get involved in their ancestors, their roots, their heritage, their culture, they are doing it for the right reasons. They want to spiritually develop, self-develop, become a better high vibrational human being on this earth. Do not deter them. You never slap the hand of that person, okay? Even if they're not doing it 100% right, or maybe you do have some facts straight here. Maybe their blood quantum isn't technically enough by government standards or whatever, but take it easy for the love of God, right? What the ancestors want to see happen here is that everybody has access to the earth, to practices that will help the individual to evolve, to spiritually develop, to become a better healer, to heal themselves, to heal their ancestral line, and to eventually be out there to go shine this on the world and make the world a better place. Everyone on the other side in the light is trying their best to help us here create this balance. And right now we are so out of balance that we need more people to step up. Yet we have these gatekeepers who want to create shame and divide, and we need to be very, very careful about all of that. Okay, I would also say this: a lot of people tap in to their ancestors from previous lives. They tap into wisdom from a culture that they were highly invested in a past life. We are made up, many of us, not all of us, but many of us are made up of many different lives, many different stories, many different tribes or blood systems and cultures. And someone who is deeply, deeply connecting to that, but has like white skin or has a different color, skin than you, maybe tapping in even more than what you are, So let's make sure that if we're gatekeeping, we're doing it for the right reasons, not so that it can be our personality, our identity. Maybe you're lacking in something spiritually there for sure. But it is absolutely possible. A great example of this is the Hopi prophecy. I'm not Hopi, nor do I claim to be, nor am I trying to be Hopi. Okay, Hopi Indian, but I was hearing certain prophecies and having certain visions for like 15 years of my life, never knowing that they were connected directly to the Hopi prophecies, until a native man came to me and said, and he's not Hopi either, okay? And he said, "Are you aware this is all Hopi prophecy?" I said, "No, I'm not." And I was shocked at how many other people of all different races, all different tribes or backgrounds were tapping into the same thing. And so here's what I believe, okay? There are ultimate truths in the universe, and our ancestors on the other side are trying to help us in tapping in to those truths. And those truths are good for everybody. Okay. They span everywhere. And so we can dip in and dip out. And it's not about blood, and it's not about language, and it's not about the tribe itself or government standards. Okay. It's everyone having the human experience on earth is a spiritual being, and the ancestors are supporting that. So be careful how you block. So let's move on to number 2. This one. Okay, so you want to believe that your ancestors, your loved ones on the other side, they're supporting you getting revenge. They're supporting you being petty, or you fighting with someone who is being petty, because maybe you're right. Okay, maybe you are right. But we're going to talk about this and see how they may not be supporting it regardless. Or in a more serious case, we could be looking for justice. Okay, so we're talking about revenge, justice, and pettiness. We could see very much so that we have ancestors or loved ones on the other side who were murdered. They were treated unfairly. There was something destructive that went on. And they absolutely 100% could be fighting this fight with you. You are carrying on the work here for them, with them, to ensure that it doesn't happen to anyone else, to ensure that people are protected and the healing process can begin in the future. But it's important to know that once they've crossed over into the light, it really isn't about them suffering. It really isn't about them needing revenge, needing justice, needing that closure anymore. Not in the same way that we experience it as human beings here while we're still on Earth. It is different. They are evolved, okay? And ultimately, whether it be getting justice for their case to protect future people, or it's letting you know, do not go after revenge. Don't do this. This is not something you're supposed to participate in. Let go, let God, let the world take care of it. Let us take care of it. Or if it's a petty situation, maybe somebody passed in your family. Let's say that your, mother passed. And all of a sudden, your petty sister and your ignorant brother are trying to take all of her things, even though they didn't help with her end-of-life care, even though they never really supported her throughout her entire life. She heard from them once a year, maybe on the holidays. They dropped a card in the mail. Even though they did not care about her estate or helping you manage any of her funeral costs or anything else. Okay, all of a sudden, these two siblings want to come in and they want their cut, and they're willing to come in and even take objects, right from the house if they could get their hands on them before you have an opportunity as the person who's running her estate, to get a handle on it. This happens all the time. I would say 1 out of 10 readings that I do involve a scenario exactly like this, and it can lead to a dark, petty path. And it is really important to understand that when you want to hear from your loved ones and your ancestors, and you want to hear, let's fight, let's fight, let's go after them because what they're doing is wrong, you, could be shocked to find that they're instead saying, let it go. Who cares? I don't care. I don't want you to care. I don't want you to fight and waste time and money and years and your energy on this, lawyer fees. Every now and again, we will hear that someone, again, is fighting that fight for justice. But the majority of the time, they're basically saying, let that go. And I'll tell you why, okay? In all 3 of these areas, revenge, justice, and pettiness, they understand once they're in the light, the law of karma, better than we ever could while we're here. And they are completely and totally at peace, understanding that from a circumstance like what is happening, which may feel very unfortunate, but it is an opportunity for growth for everyone involved. It's an opportunity for lessons for everyone involved. It's an opportunity for strength for everyone involved, to learn a new skill set, to level up, to mature, and ultimately, where karma is due, it will be paid. Nobody escapes it. So you really don't need to. okay, do any of that. In order for it to happen, it will naturally come, and they know this. I do want to encourage everyone here on TikTok, as well as anyone here on YouTube, feel free to start posting your questions or comments. I will be getting to them at the end. We do encourage donations. Thank you. And if everybody could give this video a thumbs up right now, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, let's move on to number 3. All right, so people come in and they say, I have been living my life doing X, Y, Z because I need to know, are they proud of me? And it's a harsh reality to sometimes look back at the ancestors and the loved ones and have to say to the sitter, not really, not a ton. Why is that? That's because the whole entire agenda that you have for your life, that they may have once had, that they handed down to you generation to generation, right? Whether it be religion, support this religion, be good, go to church, it be get married and have kids and stay married, it be follow this line of work, make sure you become, this in your career, whatever it is. They literally don't care about that anymore after they have crossed, unless it is really good for you. And a lot of times these situations are not, okay? So they would look at your life often and say, so I try to answer it like this. Are they proud of you? Oh, sure, they're proud of you, but let's talk about a couple areas that need some work, and they've got a laundry list of things that need to be improved upon, because you based your life and whether or not you're something to be proud of based on who they were when they were here and these societal standards that no longer count once we have crossed over to the other side. All right, so you would want to ask yourself this. If you really want them to be proud of you, here are the things that make them proud. Are you resisting greed, a greedy attitude in life? Are you being mindful every day, centered, rooted, grounded, mindful? Okay. Or are you out of balance in your life? Are you lazy in your personal life? Do you think your wife is going to take care of everything, or you don't really try to achieve goals, or you just don't really want to bother? You have a sense of entitlement. Okay, are you lazy? Are you outsourcing your power? Have you given your power over to the church or religion or your boss or the bank, the almighty buck? Okay. Are you hiding? Are you fear-based? Are you egotistical? Okay, meaning excessively controlling, rigid. Are you a non-believer in any of this? Have you, your entire life, pushed away the realization that intuition is real, that spirit is real, okay? That the universe is communicating with you? Are you completely detached from all of that? Are you charitable? Are you a workaholic? Do you do self-care, self-love? Are you into therapy or self-healing? Are you paying attention to your spiritual growth? Okay, self-development. Are you taking care of the earth and the environment, others? Okay, are you supportive of policies, political, capitalistic, that are hurting other people? And ultimately, are you holding yourself accountable? And are you feeding the light? If you're not doing these things, they're probably not as proud of you as you may want to think that they are, okay? These are the things that they care about. All right, let's move on to number 4. And then we have one more. Your love life. So people come to me all the time. They're like, is he the one? Should I propose to her? Do I have my ancestors, my loved ones' approval? Or people won't leave toxic marriages and they're like, yeah, but I can't leave because my grandparents really loved my husband. Not anymore, they don't. If he's abusive, if he's negative, if he's toxic, if it's not good for you, once they're on the other side, no, they don't, okay? They have a different perspective on things. So we can also see that people are really, really wrapped up in wanting to hear from the ancestors that this person is the one and that they should commit their life to being in a contract, a marriage, with this person. And they want me to go back in a reading and say, can you verify that? Can you validate that? And it's like crickets, crickets, crickets. It's like pulling teeth. I can't get anything out of anybody. And so I have to be honest. They're okay with it if that's what you want to do. But the reality is they know that contracts are temporary. So you better be very careful locking yourself into a government contract, a marriage, saying till death do us part with someone that maybe you're only really supposed to be with for the next 6 years. Or you're really just supposed to have children with this person. Or you're really just supposed to build a business with them. And then at about the 10-year mark out, you guys are supposed to go your separate ways. You're great. You're wonderful people. You're both growing, but you're growing apart. There are a million different things that happen. And it can be really, really toxic and super uncomfortable to commit yourself and to force yourself to stay there lifelong. And your ancestors aren't going to support that idea. So they could be a little quiet on that one, okay? They also don't believe in it. So a lot of people are surprised. Oh, I'm surprised my, grandmother didn't come through and say to me, why aren't you married yet with, kids? Why aren't you doing this? Because she no longer believes in government and religious systems. Okay, those were all systems designed by society. It just isn't important to her anymore that you do that. She sees clearly what would be best for you. And that is that you achieve your goals, you grow and develop, you realize who you really are, you become enlightened. That would be far, far more important. So it's amazing. Sometimes people will think that can't be my grandparent. That can't be my mom or dad. Yeah, it is. Yeah, they've changed. And so should you. Okay, number 5. They do not care anymore about your religious or church beliefs, especially if it's extremist, if it's toxic, if it's a cult, if it's based on fear, if it's entrapping to you. You won't get out because you could be shunned. You won't get out because you're afraid you're going to go to hell. You won't develop spiritually because you're afraid that's playing with the devil. Okay. They no longer support those systems once they cross. Okay. So be very careful that you don't expect that you're on your own on all of these areas. Okay. And there are a few other ones, but that's what we have time for today. Do we have any questions or comments coming in?
Yeah, we have. We had a comment here on TikTok from Tooties.
Mm-hmm.
They said this is happening to her right now, and she was meant to see this. And thank you.
Good. Well, I'm feeling you, and I see where it's happening for you psychically, and I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing because you're more connected, than a lot of people are, and that's all you need to know. Stay in your truth. Good for you.
Yeah, and this one came in from our member, Elaine.
A member, Elaine.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna post it in here so that we can start it on your side.
Yeah, so for those of you on TikTok, you can't see any of this, but so this is from Elaine, a member on YouTube. The last few months, I've been losing weight and fatigued. I'm not doing recreational drugs other than marijuana. I'm experiencing so many different things of this time in my life. They have to feel like I'm coming. It feels like I'm coming full circle. The wisdom and insight, everything for years. I've said, watch, I'm finally going to start liking life. Is it time for me? Am I confused and tired? Okay, wow. So that's it. Is there more?
No.
Okay. So, Elaine, I think I understand what you're trying to say here. And that is that basically everything's coming to a head. You're having an awakening, a peak, and that it will really cause a lot of health problems. Okay, so one of the things I don't like to talk about negatively, because it isn't negative and it does pass, and it is a lifelong journey that is going to come back. So we just have to learn to deal with it. Every time we have a major awakening, we have something called Kundalini that can cause a lot of side effects, like what you're talking about. Check out my free mini class here on YouTube at Ask Ivy on Kundalini. I did another one on downloads. Okay, so once you have an awakening, you have a Kundalini, you will also start to receive downloads. Now, I did another video, and I know I did some TikToks on it. Kundalini versus downloads. I think maybe I did a short story also here on YouTube. So what is the difference? Well, with Kundalini, you have like flu-like symptoms. You have heightened awareness, psychic, mediumistic, empathic. You are basically intuitively on fire. It's like your crown and your third eye is wide open. And you could feel less protected than normal, and you should be more careful, cleanse, ground. But you will also have like explosive diarrhea, random like nasal drainage from your eyes. You will think everybody has it, like everyone's sick, and then you realize you're the only one. And you're not contagious, and then it goes away and then it comes back. These changes can go on from anywhere from a few weeks to up to a few months. And then when you start to get downloads, you have things like energy shooting, from your feet to your crown. It can cause restless leg syndrome, itchy skin, frequent urination. You could accidentally get misdiagnosed with having a manic episode, manic depression, even though you never had it before. You have to be careful how you handle these things. Just try to remember they are temporary. Get educated. You are going through an awakening. Join the club. It is unpleasant, but the more you have these over the course of your life, the more they're like predictable, and you're able to not necessarily control it, but it's almost like you become more numb to it, and you will fight it less. The faster you could just give in to the detoxing of it all, the faster it will move on. Okay. We have another question. Okay. So it was a pleasure doing this one with you. And next week, our free mini class is what day is today? Tuesday at 8:30. We're staying at 8:30 for now. New summer or fall hours. And what's the title?
Pandemic.
The pandemic. We're just talking about the pandemic. All right. So we're going to be talking about the pandemic and how it has affected all of us intuitively, kundalinis, downloads, empathic overload. How has it changed the world as a whole? How are we now part of this great awakening? This new spiritual movement leading into these end times and this revolution. What is really going on with the energy from the pandemic? And hope to see you guys for that. Don't forget, if you want to register for Psychic Mediumship course, you are not too late. Go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com, or registration is now open for the winter session, which starts November 1st. Psychicmediumshipcourse.com, folks. Thank you, Polly. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Spirit.